chose nursing because I wanted to make a difference in people's lives, and I felt like working in the nursing field allowed me to do that on a daily basis. I also thought that nursing allowed me to work as a team member with people, and I always enjoyed doing that. I played on a lot of sports teams growing up. It allowed me to problem solve with people, come up with plans for patients, and just work together and learn from each other.
I think it comes back when I was like 13 years old. My father passed away, and I spent a lot of time in the hospital. And my mother would tell me, go spend some time with your father. And it was actually kind of fun. We would play cards and, read stories. And I think that's when it probably all started, about wanting to care for other people. I didn't really consider nursing though until I was in my 20s, when my aunt was studying to be a nurse, and she would do the flashcards. I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. And I really started enjoying the profession, and I think it's a wonderful field to be in.
Well, like most people, when you get out of college, you think you're going to do this or you're going to do that. And in my second year of undergrad, I almost went into the nursing program. And then I got into the ROTC program and was going to get a scholarship and thought that was the way I was going to go. And then that didn't go very well. So I went back into the nursing program after I did my undergrad. And I have been happy every day since. It was the best decision I could have ever made.
At a very young age, I was in different organizations that went to nursing homes and helped people. I became a candy striper, and then it just seemed to evolve from there, and went on to nursing school.
Nursing was not my first profession choice, actually. My mother kind of helped steer me down this road. I was in a sports administration job. And from there, she offered me the opportunity to shadow at Samaritan Hospital. She was a social worker there, and I got to shadow in the emergency department one day. Fell in love with it. It was the exact thing I needed in my life. It was a career, it was stable, and thought, okay, these are the things at 22 that I should be doing. So I went into it and started following along with the academics, like, okay, second degree, let's be very serious about this. And after a year or so into it, I was like, this is it. This is where I know I have to be. Didn't know what department or anything else I was going to find where my niche was. So while going through school, kind of tested out the waters with a couple of patient care tech opportunities, and found that the pediatric ICU, where I was for a year while going through school, was where I wanted to start my career at Albany Med. And it was phenomenal that they gave me the opportunity right out of school to be involved in such a high pace, environment that was fantastic. And I can't thank them enough for that kind of opportunity. And from there, now having found the Melody Center, there's nothing I can say that has not been said about that place. They are truly something of a real specialty that no one really understands unless you walk through those doors. So I've been graced to have such an opportunity to do what I do and be a part of a team that it really can't be done without everybody else involved in that room, and a part of the secretaries, the child life, the physicians, the other nurses, the other people that just come through those doors, volunteer hours to help out. It's everyone, and it's not just one person there.
I always wanted to be a nurse when I was a little girl. In fact, I used to help my brother when he was sick. But my sister became a nurse when we graduated from high school. We were very competitive, so I had to wait until I finished a career of 20 years in banking, and then she moved away to New Mexico, and I finally had a chance to pursue what I really love. So it's something I always wanted to do.
Thank you. I chose nursing as a profession because I was raised by a Boston Irish Catholic mother who instilled the values of integrity and compassion and service. And that's all that I know, and as a nurse I can use those values every single day.
I chose to become a nurse because as a little girl I always knew when I grew up I wanted to give back to others as much as I possibly could, and going to work every day in a hospital taking care of patients, I knew there'd be no better place for me.
I originally had a degree in a different field and started working as a patient care assistant at Saratoga Hospital, and realized that's the field where you get to hang out with the patients all the time and be the one caring for them. So that's how I got into nursing.
Well, first of all, I've been a nurse for 35 years, which is quite a long time. And I chose nursing as my profession because I felt that I could make a difference in people's lives. I'm a very I'm very much a people person. I love caring for people and making their lives better and making them feel better. I love the whole aspect of nursing, which not only cares for the patient or the student, but encompasses the family who also needs care and support during difficult times. And it's been, very rewarding to me, very rewarding. And also nursing has a lot of different facets to it, a lot of different options for when you go into nursing, different fields that you can, experience. And so I like that idea of it. I also like the pace. I'm pretty much a very energetic person, so the pace was good for me also.
Probably some of the best are when there's really good teamwork in the unit that I work with, and we can do things for patients that you can only do if you're working as a team. We have brought dying patients outside so they could see their pets. We have taught family members to take care of patients so they could take them home on ventilators and so they could have a much better quality of life at their homes.
There's many memorable moments. I will say the moment that stood out to me mostly in my nursing career was I had a young patient that had passed away in his 40s, and after the family had left, I went back into the room, and it's nursing tradition that we open the windows when somebody passes so that your soul can travel. And I opened the window, and soon after, 2 doves were sitting at the windowsill. And that was always so special to me to see, doves, a symbol of peace and love. And so I went back out. I'm like, I gotta call his wife and just let her know that her husband's at peace. And so I did that. I spoke to the wife, and I went back into the room. And when I went back, my window was still wide open, and the doves were still sitting there. And suddenly I'm like, oh my goodness, infection control. These birds are gonna fly into the room and everybody's gonna be pointing a finger at me. So it was a beautiful thing, but I got a little nervous after seeing those birds sitting at the windowsill. So it was very special though. It was special.
I've had a lot of memorable moments at Fort Wayne Hospital for the last 29 years. But the most memorable moment I've had is when I was asked to become director of nursing. It's a personal achievement, and I really valued the confidence that senior management had in me when they had other opportunities with more experienced people.
That's a tough one because everything is memorable. I mean, no matter where you go or what you do, there's going to be something you take from the spot. And at the VA hospital, the best and most wonderful thing is that we're a family. The people on my floor that I work with, they're there for each other. When my relationship broke up, they were there for me, they supported me. Then when another friend on the floor, his broke up, he came and lived with me for 3.5 years until he was ready to get out. We are the best of friends. And the patients are our family as well. We get to know them so well that, some of them just come to the VA because they're lonely. They come through the emergency room to see you just because they don't have anybody else. And, my nursing skills, yes, they're good. I can pick out the important things, but I think the most important thing is just understanding your patients. There was one gentleman in particular that a while back came in with his wife. We've known him for years. We took care of his daughter before she aged out. And, I saw a side of him that I never saw before. I'd had him as a patient before and he dismissed me. He's a kind of a cranky old guy. But this time he came in with his wife and he was so tender with her. It's, you learn about people every day. They're good things, they're bad things, but there's something good in everybody. And I love my job, It can be tough at times, but, you go home and you feel good after it.
This one I always think about. It actually is an event that happened when I was a nursing student. I thought I wanted to be a pediatric nurse, so I worked at the Children's Hospital at Albany Medical Center. Those nurses are amazing. Well, I was a tech there, And when I was going around doing vital signs, this little boy came up to me and he said, "Diana, I see you're going to be the new tech. I bet you're in nursing school." I've been a regular here for many years, so if you want to know anything about the patients or the doctors, come see me because I'm an expert. He was amazing. He's a child that has cystic fibrosis, and he would be a child that whenever a new person came on the floor, he would always say, "Diana, we have to bring him to see a clown or the dog. We don't want him to feel alone." He was truly amazing, and I was there less than a year, and he was expected not to make it. He was supposed to go home to die because he needed lung, pancreas, and heart. And the night he was supposed to go home, he had passed on. And I remember just before that happened, he had told me, "Diana, I have to have this happen when I'm here because my mother's going to freak out finding me dead." But he said more importantly, "But Diana, I lived a great life." And here he is, only 12-year-olds telling me that story. I never forgot him, and he told me I would be a great nurse. And this is for him because he made me be a good nurse.
A memorable experience is every day I go to work. I work with moms who are giving birth, and I make a connection with them and help them bring new life into the world. And I think there's nothing better than that. And when a patient looks at me and puts their trust and faith in me, I go home every day very lucky.
I am very fortunate to be blessed with so many memorable moments as I live my value system as a nurse. One of the most memorable is in regards to the family that nominated me, that I was able to share with him a life-changing moment when he was able to survive an incredibly complicated surgery, and to be a part of that is truly rewarding to my soul.
Well, I've had many memorable moments, many. So many that I've thought over the years that I'd like to write some of them down so that I would remember them. Special times when I felt that, I was very supportive to a family who had a sick loved one. Thinking about school nursing, which I've been doing for 11 years, I went into school nursing thinking that it was going to be one way. I had my idea of what school nursing was about, and it was so much more than I had anticipated. Great need, and so one of the most memorable moments I have is we had a migrant family in our district, and they didn't speak English. The parents didn't speak English, and one of their children had a very significant medical issue that occurred, and they needed to wade through the medical care of this child. And the father was only here for 6 months and had to go back to his country once his 6 months was up. So mom was here alone with the children and this medical issue. So I felt I could make a big difference in their lives and helping them get to doctors and to get the medical care that this child needs.
I've had lots of memorable moments in my career, but recently being able to teach the orthopedic class often, we have patients all the time that tell us how it decreased their anxiety being able to see someone during their stay that they've met prior to coming into the hospital, and they love the class.
I can give you a memorable moment. Most people do know that moment, but I'll come back to that because really every day that right now I get to see is an opportunity to have a memorable moment. We are completely blessed to be given the trust of families to take care of their children, to take care of them. You don't get that in any other kind of career, I think, from other roles that people get to play. We have patients in the Melody Center that are dying of cancer, that have blood disorders, that are chronic patients that are coming through. So you get to develop a relationship with them. And not everyone makes it, but you get to continue to develop that relationship with them afterwards. There are other opportunities to do things outside with fundraisers, community events that continues on throughout years and years to help support them. And those are other things that we get to involve ourselves in. High fives, hugs, dancing, music therapy. anything where we get to dress up as characters for Halloween, Christmas, and celebrate any type of great moments of finishing chemotherapy, things that are successes in school, events and trips that they get to do. They share it with us. They get to be our second family as well too. So we have families that come through and really they have nothing. They file FMLA paperwork. They have their bare minimum, but they want to buy us gifts. They want to do things for us and other families. And it's just so heartbreaking, but also such a thing that you can't walk in every day and say, this isn't what I'd love to do. And it really helps make you incredibly passionate about it if you show up. And even as a nurse, secretary, anyone else a part of that team, it's completely all teamwork, and it wouldn't survive or be successful without that. But my story is, yes, the opportunity to have built the relationship with the little patient, Abby, who everyone does know, that 4-year-old who I got to marry. It was an opportunity where literally her mom had said to us, Abby's coming to the clinic tomorrow and wants to marry Matt. So I ran over to the child life specialist and said, listen, let's see if we can do something for her tomorrow. She's coming in, let's see if we can make this an opportunity. And this was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They were leaving shortly after. They go home, they came in early the next day, they had brought in some flower petals, they had decorated the little cars that we have in the child playroom and anything else like that to say just married, little cans on the back. We put together a whole cake and things. The night before, I also had a friend reach out to someone who does a florist in the local town and said, you know, can we do something for this patient just to kind of help out? Are you able to put a bouquet together for her? He brought us more rose petals. He brought bouquets for both of the child life specialists and the social worker who were there for being the bridesmaids. He brought her own little thing, a bouquet for me and everything else with all the trying to think of the word, the boutonniere. And with the boutonniere, I mean, we had everything. Find that he had also had his wife pass away on the unit next door to us about a couple years ago. So it was a very kind of backstory that you didn't understand was going to happen to be a part of this. So he was more than willing to do this at 9:30 at night, spending extra hours to put in the time to help us out. So they bring in a little white dress for her the next day. I've got on a t-shirt from a friend who I got that was a tuxedo t-shirt. And from there, it was all the staff, everyone involved, just have her walk in on rose petals and have her favorite physician actually be a part of this and be the officiant. And within a couple minutes, we had ring pops and pictures and everything else that were going on. And it was phenomenal. And nothing that you would expect to come of that, of how the video went so viral, how the staff and Albany Med were completely recognized for everything like this. It's things like that that happen every day that people don't get to see. And now that they were given this opportunity, hopefully the world can understand what nursing and the communities and everyone else that they have around them will understand is done. And right after that, I went in and had to do a procedure with a physician on another patient, and the rest of the day just continued on as is, because those are the things that we get the opportunities to do every day. I love it.